Take the highway through the Great Divide. I'm building you a pyramid with limestone blocks so large I dragged them from the mountaintop. You need a two-car garage. I'm building you a pyramid with limestone
Are an American rock band from Vermont who were formed in 1983. They've had a couple of breaks, but they're basically still going, and I can't be bothered with the dates of the breaks. They have multiple singers and songwriters, but they seem to be mostly focused on Trey Anastasio. They've released 16 studio albums, but from what I read, the focus of the band is more on their live performances, which particularly involve improvised jam sessions. They have a hugely dedicated fan base, and live tapes of their performances abound on the internet. Hi, my name's Dan. So this review is a request by a user called Lemony Cake. Thanks for the request, Lemony Cake. You requested two things at the same time. The other one was the Fishbone EP. I've decided I'm not going to do it because it's an EP and this is an album review channel. So sorry about that. So most of the reviews on this channel are from a list, which is the list of the 3,000 greatest albums of all time, according to a website called Acclaimed Music. There's a link down below in the details if you want to go look at it. And I'm working my way upwards from 3,000 up to hopefully all the way up to one. And I'm just approaching. Well, I'm just over a quarter of a way, to be honest. But occasionally I step off that list, and one of those reasons to do that, excuses maybe, is to do request reviews. So if you want to request a review, I don't promise to do all of them. I've done quite a lot of them that have been requested, and all you have to do is to leave a comment on one of my videos, and I will stick it on my list and consider it. That's my pile of requests to do. So this one, as I said, was requested by Lemony Cake, and here we go. So this is the fourth album by Phish. It's apparently their only concept album that they have released. They did record a previous concept album, but it has not been released. This is my first encounter with them. I have heard of them, but I think just as a name, so I didn't know anything about them. And I think I'm going to describe this as prog rock, but only just. And I think that the main reason for saying that is because it's a concept album. So in other ways, they are they do have a bit of a kind of prog attitude to stuff, but musically it's not what. So I mean, this is what 1993, so we're not really quite into the modern prog as I think of it, which has a certain kind of feel to it, and this doesn't have that feel. It's quite different. It's right. So let's say it's a concept album. So it's a story about a guy and the rift between him and his girlfriend. And style-wise, it's got some little bits kind of country and bluegrass elements. Otherwise, it's kind of rock, but also with some jazz fusion elements in there. It's quite a melting pot in some ways. They quite like to play fast. There's some really nice bass playing. I often hear the bass because I play bass too. There's some good guitar playing as well. In fact, everything is really nicely played. It's nicely put together. It's got some oddities in it. So it's got a repeated thing about, which is a kind of almost a mantra kind of singing about sleeping diagonally in the bed. And there's a song about, well, it's about, I think it's called My Friend, and it's about the fact that his friend's got a knife. My friend, he's got a knife. There's my favourite song on the album is about weighing things. It's a clever album, clever track. The whole album's relatively clever, I would say. There's a kind of almost other people have compared them to Frank Zappa. Other people apparently have compared them to the Grateful Dead, and I don't get that. They disclaim that. I think it's because they're known as a jam band, and so are the Grateful Dead. But they've been compared to Zapp, um, and there I can kind of hear that more. So it's obviously later. Zappa was kind of 20 years before this, 20, 25 years. Depending, I mean, he did quite a lot of stuff, but his sense of humour is, I believe, is called a Dadaist sense of humour, where there's a tendency to kind of overegg random everyday things and to make them seem that they've got more significance than they have, or to just use them as a fact that it's something everyday makes it um, quite humorous. It's a bit like saying, St. George went off to attack the dragon with the mighty egg whisk of doom. It's that kind of thing. You're putting something mundane in where you don't expect it, and there's some of that in it, and other kind of elements of the Frank Zappa thing. But it's not full on Zappa. It's kind of Zappa light. I guess in some ways, some of the music is has a similarity to some of Zappa's stuff, but Zappa's stuff is so wide that many things do, I guess. So I'm going to claim that it's prog light. Um, I'd say that it's accessible for people who find prog a bit unapproachable. You might enjoy this. It's definitely kind of at the artistic end of rock. It's very capable, and there's a lot of skill in the playing. But it's fun. It's nicely played, and I enjoyed it quite a lot. So nice one. Thanks, Lemony Cake, for suggesting this. Yeah, you can suggest something again if you like now, if you got anything else as good as this. So I found it musically enjoyable. I found the progginess of it enjoyable. I found the light-heartedness of it, despite that it's somewhat of a sad and hard topic, is handled in a good way, and I enjoyed that as well. So it's got a kind of dark sense of humour at times. Yeah, it's good. I like it. So it's going to get a good score from me. I'd love to know what you think of this album. So if you know it, please do let me know. And if you don't know it, why not have a listen and then let me know? Please do hit me up in the comments. And that's it from me for now.
I'd like to cut your head off so I could weigh it. What do you say? 5 pounds.